Welcome to another podcast episode of the Share Your Stories series. This is a podcast experience where we get to explore humanity one heart at a time. I am your host, Jenny Diltz, and I'm the founder of Grieving Coach. I am a certified grief coach who specializes in helping people transform grief into growth. And I do this one conversation, one heart, one experience at a time. From my personal experiences with grief, I have learned to lean in, ask questions, and reflect with gratitude on the lessons I've received from grief. And now I use this pattern to help my clients transform their grief from foe into friend. If you'd like to explore this further, send me an email at jen@grievingcoach.com or visit my website at grievingcoach.com. And a special thanks goes out to the nonprofit organization Reimagine, who has built and supports a community to host events like these, where people can come to talk about, process, and learn from life's challenging experiences. My hope for you today is that you will find something to take away that can help you in your life and help you in your multitude of grief. In your setting, wherever you are, if that's grief related or not, that you'll find a nugget or two from our conversation today, something that will help you in your journey. My guest this afternoon is Sharna Southan. Sharna Southan is a pregnancy loss coach and self-healing spiral practitioner. She is also a beautiful mom to a toddler and her rainbow baby, as well as a loving wife and business owner with her husband. After experiencing her own pregnancy loss in 2017, she followed her heart and soul into business to help guide and support women through pregnancy loss. Sharna also founded the Institute of Healing Through Pregnancy Loss. Sharna firmly believes that our adversity gives us an opportunity to grow. For our soul to grow, it allows us to shed all that isn't serving us in our life, to reconnect to our heart and soul, and build a life that serves us on a holistic level. It's a chance to develop ourselves, grow, and reprioritize things in our life so that we are living aligned to our core values. Sharna, thank you so much for being with us here today.
Thank you so much for having me and having me in your space.
I love your passion and the work that you're doing to help others find magic in their lives after pregnancy loss.
Yeah, it's because what I found after my own loss was that everything that I believed to be true in my life beforehand was ripped out from underneath me. And I kind of thought at that point, I was like, well, what the hell am I doing here now? Like, what is the meaning of my life anymore?
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, I was able to, reconnect, reevaluate and reassess my life and then reconnect to what my life meant now moving forward with the grief in it.
Mm-hmm.
Because grief isn't something that just disappears. It's something that you learn to live with, and you can find the magic in your life again, even though you've been through these challenges and these adversities, whatever that is.
Mm-hmm.
But for me in particular, like, pregnancy loss was something that I never even knew about before experiencing it myself. So it was a huge shock to the system and literally just turned my world upside down. But I was able to find meaning in my life again. I was able to find the magic in my life again. And I know that other women are searching for that.
Mm-hmm.
And are wanting that for themselves as well. Because if I wanted it, there's other women out there as well that want it too. And, I want to be able to support women and guide women to finding that, to being able to move through their grief, embrace their story, embrace the emotions, and embrace everything that sort of came along with their experience, and find their magic, reconnect to what it is, what that means, and what it looks like.
That's amazing. Where can people find you?
So I have a website. It's just www.sharnasouthan with an .com. And also on Instagram, the Institute of Healing. So it's just, the handle is just Institute of Healing _PL. My Instagram page is essentially an extension of everything that I believe I find value in, and that will help people on their journey to educate, bring awareness, bring tools in their healing. And I'm very much a firm believer of being proactive in your healing, not just sort of sitting idly by and waiting for something to happen, waiting for something to change. I am very much, if you want to heal, you say yes to yourself and you start taking those steps towards changing your life. But being a not being a bystander in your life, actually being an active member in your journey and being proactive, taking those steps, putting your hand up and actually following through and implementing things that, you know, I share, or if you're a client of mine, you know, the time that we spend together, really embracing everything that is shared. And being open to the possibilities of it actually transforming your life. Because I know it's everything that I needed when I was healing. It's everything I kind of created out of my own healing.
Right.
So every one of my clients that I've been able to walk through those same steps as what I went through, but actually giving them tools that they can integrate into their day to help empower them and help give them confidence, was able to really make the difference in them having a long lasting and ever evolving healing journey. It's not just when they finish their time with me, they're like, the transformation stopped. Like, they've been able to keep going and keep evolving and keep growing after our time finished, with everything that we had gone through and everything, all the tools that we had discussed. So essentially, you know, I want to share as much as I can on my social media and on my website for women to gain that sort of free value. But obviously then I do have the programs that I walk my clients through and really have that high touch sort of opportunity for transformation.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit about your story so that we know where you're coming from?
Yeah, so I always knew I wanted to have children, and I'm one of 4, like, in my family. So, you know, we're a very close family. I always wanted that for myself, but I knew I didn't want 4 kids, because being one of 4, I was like, I don't want to have like a huge family, but I at least wanted 1 or 2. And I always thought that falling pregnant was easy, because in school you're told, you know, don't wear a condom. If you don't wear a condom, you'll fall pregnant. So I was like, okay, cool. In my 20s though, I felt very immature in a sense. I wanted to spend a lot of time on me, which then when I actually was trying to fall pregnant, I thought that I was being punished for, because we weren't falling pregnant. It took us 5 years of trying to conceive to be able to fall pregnant. And we ended up seeing fertility specialists and getting all the tests done that we thought when it was necessary in being able to, you know, fall pregnant. So, you know, I turned 30 and I was like, okay, I'm ready now. Like, I'm ready to start a family. And it just didn't happen. And I started to really question myself as a woman. And, you know, that's what my body is designed for, and it can't fall pregnant. I'm like, what's happening? So I had I started to have a lot of doubt in my capability as a woman. And then when we saw the fertility specialist, he gave us some medication to take to increase my eggs and increasing the fertility, so that, you know, it made it easier for us to fall pregnant. We fell pregnant probably a month after starting the medication, but I didn't actually know that I was pregnant until what I thought I was about 10 weeks. So because my period was so irregular, I just didn't think that I just couldn't work out like if I was actually pregnant or not. Like,
Right.
And I did do like ovulation strips and stuff like that, but I wasn't so like regimented with it. So I still kind of didn't know. And then the GP confirmed that we were pregnant. We went to have our ultrasound, and in the ultrasound appointment, the technician obviously was doing his thing, and after trying for a while, he said, "I'm sorry, there's no heartbeat." And he said the baby had measured at 7 weeks. I had absolutely no sign of losing it. I didn't know that had actually happened. And he went out and got a senior technician to try and confirm his sort of diagnosis, and the senior technician said the same thing. So at that point, I think I just felt like the room just closing around me. I felt like everything just went silent, and I was like the only person in the world. My GP said to me that it takes about 3 weeks for the body to realize that the pregnancy isn't viable anymore. So being that I thought that I was about 10 weeks and the baby had passed at 7, there was that 3-week gap. And she's like, you're pretty much like, you'll go home and you'll naturally start to miscarry. And so they just sent us home within a couple of days. So I think the waiting for just it all to happen and not knowing what to expect was horrible. And, you know, within a couple of days, I started to bleed, and I was like, okay, well, this is it. It's happening. Like, and then I was thinking, like, is this the end? Like, does this mean, like, she goes, it should be just like a heavy period. So I was like, okay, well, this is a heavy period. Does this mean like I bled for a little bit, and does this mean it's finished and I'm done? It lasted the entire weekend, and I ended up losing a lot of blood to the point I was passing out just to stand up to go to the bathroom. And on the last day, I started experiencing contractions. So I didn't know that even that was a thing, like that I would be experiencing either. So I waited the whole weekend to see the GP again on Monday. And when I got into the doctors, like, I couldn't walk. I physically couldn't stand up, and they immediately called the ambulance to take me to hospital, which our hospital that deals with like pregnancies and stuff like that is like 45 minutes away. So, and because I was experiencing contractions, I didn't have any pain relief at home. Obviously that was strong enough to help with that. I had Panadol, like paracetamol, and that was it. So they rushed me up to hospital, and they had a look at me up there. They said that we have to do a D&C because your body's not going to stop stop the process naturally. Like it's going to keep going and you're going to keep losing too much blood. So they rushed me in for surgery pretty much straight away, within probably an hour of being at the hospital. And then I woke up in recovery. I was by myself, still kind of in shock with what had actually happened, and sent home. And I was like, all right, now what? Like I got home and I'm like, now what do I do?
Yeah.
Like there's nothing. Like I just had to wait for whatever was going to happen, like wait for my body to start to heal, wait for my mind to start to heal. Like I was very aware because I lost my dad when I was 19. So I was very aware of grief, and how it presents itself. And I was very aware of slipping back into depression because that's what I did when my dad passed away. So I was aware of my mental health, but I didn't know, like I didn't know how that was all going to play out after I got home, because